The Dodgers' #1 prospect, Dalton Rushing, joins the show. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You guys wanted a parade? We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Monkey magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, do us a huge favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. But without further ado, we've got a special guest today, so we're going to get right into it. Dodgers' #1 prospect, Dalton Rushing, joins the show. Dalton, how you been living this offseason, my man?
It's been good. It's been good. Been in the warm weather, traveled a little bit, but ever since the new year, it's been kind of into a new level and get ready for spring training.
So you told me before the show you're in Florida, but you expect to get to Arizona a little earlier than typically?
Yeah, like a week early, probably early February. I'll be out there.
Yeah, and you look at where you're at. I mean, I know you see your name, #1 Dodgers prospect, and just heading into this season, a lot of talk that 2025 is going to be the year. But just as far as the process goes, talk to me about your off season, just how you spent it getting better.
Yeah, it was more focus, defensive side of things. Obviously, there's been I don't even want to say a question mark. I don't think it was a question mark. I think it was more see what we can do to get him in there as soon as possible. So, yeah, there's been a little shift with that, but a lot of catching work this offseason, and just being ready, like I just mentioned, for whatever opportunity gets in front of me.
Yeah, and just before we kind of get into just kind of like the position, kind of where you're at in the box, all that great stuff, just from an excitement level, knowing that, hey, this really could be the year that you realize that dream and you make your debut for the Dodgers, just what is the mindset heading into that, just knowing that that's a very real possibility?
Yeah, it's much easier being the Dodgers for sure. You know what you're getting into. You know it's surrounded everywhere, every corner you look in. You're surrounded by guys that are not only playing beside them going to make you better, but they're going to make sure they can do anything in the moment to help you out, make you better as a player early on in your career to carry that throughout your whole career, really. And that's something I'm excited about. I think I'm starting to become more and more comfortable around those guys, and obviously that's one of the biggest pieces. And yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, it's a big year. I'm excited, but no really change of mindset last year opposed to this year. It's really just go in and do my job, and whatever's put in front of me, make sure I continue to do my job no matter what level.
Yeah, and you talk to people within the organization and they say he's such a great hitter. I mean, he's versatile. He can do a lot of stuff on the field, but it's really, this guy's a leader too. The DNA, the intangibles are off the charts. I mean, as far as this organization and their willingness to win and your hunger to win, just talk about how that aligns.
Yeah, it's ever since 22, really. I got drafted, kind of realized very quickly, like, the Dodger way is the winning way, and that's something I've tried to surround myself throughout my whole life, really. Going to college at Louisville, that was kind of similar situation. Sorry about that. It's probably a little loud.
No, it's perfect. It
There's a
sounds
loud
good. I
bike
like
coming
it.
by.
I like it. Yeah.
But yeah, going to Louisville, it was winning tradition. It's really all I've been raised through in the game of baseball, and it's something I'm very blessed. Obviously, you don't get to make that choice of who drafts you. I was very blessed, it being the Dodgers, getting into a winning culture, a winning franchise. And yeah, it's something I'm excited about. You take on the leadership roles as they approach themselves. And I mean, you look at a clubhouse, a lineup like that, a rotation like that, there's probably very little leadership that needs to come out of a 23-year-old playing with some of these guys. But I guess on the flip side of things, it's really just my job to show the maturity of that level or at their level, and show them that really you can come to me just as if I can come to you. You know, I'm probably going to be coming to you more than you come to me. But I mean, every baseball player knows it's you can learn things from younger players. You can learn things from obviously the veterans of baseball. It's no like in particular player that really changes anything.
Yeah, and as far as just this off season, you of course want to win. You're with the organization
Yeah,
that is as all in and committed to winning as any organization, really, in my opinion, in
correct.
professional sports. And you see what they've done. I mean, they've
Yeah,
added big pieces, and kind of the talk around Dodgerland this whole entire week has been surrounding a guy like a Roki Sasaki. I just always kind of
yeah.
wonder, someone like yourself, you're doing work every day. You know you're about to go for the long haul for the next 6-7 months every single day. Do you pay attention to all these kind of ins and outs of the rumors and the players they're going after? I mean, it's kind of tough to avoid it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you see it everywhere you turn. Any sort of social media. I mean, even ESPN. ESPN's sending out updates. It's like you can't get away from that kind of stuff. I mean, I think it's pretty exciting. It puts obviously the organization out there. The level of I don't want to say recruitment. It's not really a recruitment process. Some people call it that. It's more of where that player wants to play, and you've seen every player's piece on it. It's he's going to play where he wants to play. So I think it's very exciting for the organization for sure. Like everyone's mentioned, it's a dynasty. Like this is they're going to win for a very very long time, and that's just kind of how it is. So make the team the strongest you've ever seen. You know, if you can do it, why not?
Yeah, and you've seen some of these pitchers get developed in this organization, and
Yeah.
you've been behind the dish. You've seen all the talent. That's kind of been one of the big, really, boxes that the Dodgers check off. They check off so many boxes, but
Hmm.
one of them is okay, they're going to take talent, either it's an established star, either it's a young player coming up through the system, and they're going to find a way to have that guy optimize his skill
Yeah.
set. From your standpoint, just kind of seeing that up close and personal, what would be kind of your pitch to Roki Sasaki almost as, okay, this is what this organization does for pitchers, and you kind of have seen it firsthand?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few guys talk on it, and it's a very cliche answer. Everyone knows the development, and I think literally the best way to put it was kind of I saw Glassnow on a podcast the other day, and he said a similar thing. It's they're going to make you the best version of yourself. So it's there's no better place in baseball to develop other than here. You can be at your very best of your career, and they're still looking for ways to increase I guess your talent level, your execution level, whatever it may be. Like there's always a piece to add on in a sport. So I think that's something the Dodgers do really well. And him being as young as he is, and he's gonna have a really long career in the big leagues. So I think it's a clean cut answer. I mean, you kind of see what's in front of you. You understand, hey, this good farm system, guys signed for a long time. This team's gonna win for a really long time, and I'm also gonna develop. It's a win-win situation, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is kind of the unique challenge of catching a guy that throws 102, that has a splitter that drops 35 inches? I mean, how long in your experience does it take to kind of develop that rapport and chemistry with pitchers that have nasty stuff? Because you've caught some as well.
Yeah, it takes a minute. It's more like catching's all like getting comfortable with a guy is all like muscle memory and repetition. It's like the more you see it, the more you're gonna like understand how to react, the more you're gonna understand what it's doing. Even the bad ones, some of the good ones, everything moves differently. So it's like it's more repetition than anything. You see a guy multiple times, you just become comfortable with everything that he's got. So that's honestly the most fun part of catching is getting comfortable like that with pitchers. But yeah, I think it's something that matters 100%.
Yeah, and I think kind of the narrative with you kind of during the season last year was, oh, is he going to play more left? Is that where his
Yeah,
where his home is ultimately eventually going to be? But then Brandon Gomes told us at the winter meetings that, and I want to get the quote right. He said that if he continues to hit, we'll find ways to get him onto the team, and that you are athletic enough to go kick out to left field and play some first
yeah,
base, but right at the core is how you're progressing as a catcher. I mean, what did it
yeah,
mean to kind of hear that? Look, it's still about you as a catcher moving forward, and
yeah.
that's kind of the focus.
It's a good thing to hear 100%. And obviously the other part that he touched on, that's what I'm trying to do at this point. It's really like how can I show them I'm ready for that level? I think it's more from a defensive side than anything. think I don't really think they're too worried about the bat as much as they are, hey, is he going to be comfortable wherever he's at on the field? And geez, sorry about that.
Very good.
And I would assume that repetition, like I said earlier, behind the plate, that's your biggest piece. So like the more time you have back there, the more comfortable you're going to get. And I think that's something they will have to see really in spring training. But ultimately, like my mindset on it is, yes, I want to be a catcher. I think I can be a catcher long term, and hit to go with it. But also, it's like, all right, you have to get up there in order to stay up there. So it's whatever, I guess, opportunity proposes itself in front of me. It's just waiting for that moment to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Don, how big of a challenge is that for you to know that kind of your ticket to being a part of this team is that versatility, right? I mean, you got Will Smith here, a fellow Louisville Cardinal for the long term,
Mhm.
but you did play 278 and thirds innings in left field in the outfield spots. How big of a challenge is it to continue to get better as a catcher while you're also learning to play that everyday outfield position more?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a challenge, or I would call it a challenge. I wouldn't call it like mentally frustrating
Got it.
or anything, because I think of it more as just like you're showing up to work and this is another opportunity. Look, it might be a little more challenging as far as like understandment, but like I be athletic out there. They throw me in left field. Was I the best outfielder wherever I was? No, by no means. But like I continued to get more comfortable every inning I was out there, and I think that was the biggest return I got from it. Just understanding that hey, I can go out there and I can do it. So yeah, like I said, it's whatever proposes itself the earliest, the soonest, whatever way I can help on this team. I'm just going to take advantage of that opportunity. And down the road, if catching's the true piece that they want to hold on to, then we'll cross that bridge.
Yeah, of course, we got to talk about what you do at the plate because as a hitter, you're dynamic. The numbers, they tell you that, okay, this is someone who, I mean, a 15.4% walk rate. I mean, the slug is there, the bat to ball is there. As far as where you're at as a hitter, how do you assess kind of the year you had last season? And was there any area of focus that you kind of pinpointed this offseason to continue to grow that part of your game?
Yeah, I think last year I just played the game a little more, with a little better understanding of what my job was, and come to realization very soon, like my job's to drive in runs, my job's to produce runs in the first place. No matter what that is, situational hitting, that's something I take a lot of pride in. I did that a lot better this past season than I did in 23, and I think it showed. Had better power numbers in 24 than 23. I think that was just a little freely baseball and understanding when to take your shot, there's always baseball, like double A, triple A, you see different pitchers, you see different style of pitching. And so I think that adjustment getting into triple A was a little more refined. You had to put a little more focus into what the pitcher was trying to do to you opposed to what you were trying to do. Even though your objective of what you're trying to do at the plate should never change. That's really how I viewed it. And it was a good part of the development for sure. You see guys, every single type of pitcher you could think of in AAA, really. You got the guys that throw 100 and the guys that are just hanging on. So it's pretty neat. But that was something I kind of learned throughout the end of last year, the hitter, that, hey, it's like you're playing chess, not checkers here.
Yeah, and it feels like it's kind of one of those things where you continue to have success at every level, and you're at a point where it's like if you just replicated those numbers in the show, you'd be a star player. Is there somebody there? It's like, okay, I just need to get there to start the process of facing big league pitching consistently, and then kind of what do you think heading into this year? Let's say if you start the year down in AAA, are you trying to accomplish early on that gives you a better chance to have success right out of the gates against big league pitching?
I'm just going to compete. Like it sounds very, very cliche, but that's really the only way I know how to hit is like you step in, it's you versus him. The outcome, that's for you to take what you want from it. But if I'm in AAA, I'm seeing 87 every day. It's going to be the same way if I'm in the big league, seeing 97 every day. It's to this point, you understand you can hit it. It's now like to an execution degree, like these guys execute. You just, like I said earlier, it's chess, not checkers. You have to understand what they're trying to do to you before they get you, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't want to worry too much about the jump. I really just, like I said, I just want to go compete.
Yeah, 100%. And as far as kind of making that jump and playing for guys like Dave Roberts, how excited are you to potentially play for Dave Roberts? And just kind of what's the communication been like with you and Dave so far?
Yeah. Relationships like very short, of course. It's not like in depth, like obviously some of these veterans in that clubhouse. I've got to speak to him a handful of times. I got to spend a little bit of time with him during the postseason last year. And I think that was the coolest time. I got to play like scrimmages, whatever, taxi squad grouping, all that stuff. Like that was cool to just be around those guys around that time of the year. The cool things that are going on in their lives, I'm getting to be a small little piece of, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I had a few conversations with him, and it's like I admire his like desire to win. I admire his fire that's deep in, but like you don't really see it like you do in some managers in baseball, and it's he doesn't really express it as much. But when he does, I feel like it's the message gets across a little more. So from the outside looking in, it's very exciting for sure to play for a guy like him.
Yeah, I remember last year during the postseason run, Dave said that this was the first team where he felt like every single guy was one of his guys as far as how they went about and played and their compete level. I'm just thinking, oh, that's Dalton Rushing too. I mean, everything that people say about him, he fits that mold perfectly. But talk about that experience though, just kind of being around these guys and during this championship run. And was there something that, I mean, it was an epic run, right? I mean, you come back down to the Padres, you beat the Mets, you beat the Yankees in Game 5, of course. So we got the sticker here of the Fox thing for Game 5 when they were down 5-0. So we got one. I'll send you one of these. But was there something you took away from that championship run that, whether it was inspiration, motivating you, just something you took away seeing these guys accomplish that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, obviously I didn't get to see behind the scenes as much as they did, like firsthand, but it was pretty cool to just see like the molding of everyone, the way everyone acted around each other. It was a very loose environment. That team, I could only assume from early on, even to late on, it was very, very loose environment. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's kind of like you think back into a college clubhouse and it's like, all right, everybody's laid back, messing with each other. You're not thinking about the things you don't think about is, oh, this guy could be half my age. Like everyone was getting along with everyone, you know, and I think that was pretty cool. And they showed it. They displayed it very well on the field, off the field, and I think that was the coolest part. Everyone played freely, and I feel like that last little bit of like grit kind of kicked in through the last few games of the Padres, and that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that championship run is not going to get old, and hopefully you'll be a part of some of these in the future as they, like you mentioned at the top of the show, they're looking to create a dynasty, and this organization is focused on doing that. Now, has there been any message from the organization as far as where you're at now and heading into next season, as far as get ready for this, or just kind of course, we talked about the catcher and preparing for that, but has there been any message from the organization about where you're at right now and the plans for you in 2025?
No, I think the bigger picture plans are very put out there. Everyone kind of sees the bigger picture plans. I think for me, it's like I mentioned earlier, how soon can that be? Like, how can I press the envelope the soonest? How can I show up as ready as possible in spring training? Force my own hand in a way. And I think the conversations that we've had are very, hey, like this year's a little different than last year. I'm not coming in here to get comfortable with the guys. I'm coming in here to stay comfortable with you guys. Like that's kind of the mindset for me moving into this camp. And that's kind of the message that I've got. I appreciate that. It puts a little edge to it, you know? But at the same time, like enjoying being around these guys at this time of the year. It's obviously a fun group, a talented group, a lot of guys to learn from. Yeah, the message is basically just come in and compete. Kind of the thing that I've said the whole fall. And that's my biggest, I guess my biggest thing that I'm going to take into spring training is I'm treating it as if I'm 100 games in.
Interesting stuff. I mean, you gotta love that, because I mean that certainly has to be just perfect for you to hear, right? Knowing that you're that guy, knowing that this is that organization. Now, as far as just the moment itself? Have you allowed yourself to think about, oh, this is who's going to be in attendance, this is who is going to be there, kind of just the experience of kind of whoever's there for you to kind of experience that you making your debut?
Yeah. I mean, that's something like I've had to, I guess, in a way, kind of stay ready for. Kind of did it to myself last year. Just kind of, hey, have this in the back of your head. Like, you don't know when this time comes. It's just kind of part of baseball. Yeah, I've thought about it. It's more just like my family's there. I know that. And besides that, it's like, all right, I'm surrounded around 8 guys and 15 guys in the dugout or 10 guys in the dugout, 8 guys in the bullpen, whatever. Those are the guys. Like when I'm playing, like working, I guess in a way, like that's the only guys I try to surround myself with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's it makes so special, right? I mean, I talked to some of these
Yeah.
guys, and they're like, oh, yeah, my favorite thing, you get the MLB debut patch. There's all that cool stuff, and you know,
Yeah.
have you thought about what walk up song you'd roll with though?
I have not, honestly. It'll be a very last minute thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. No,
It might be something I start to brainstorm now, I guess.
yeah, I
Let's
mean,
go ahead.
hey, the
Let's
number,
have it ready for early April or mid-March, I guess, in this
yeah,
sense.
and we'll have plenty of time to kind of get there and kind of talk about that stuff. But one thing I would ask you too is, look, there's no doubt about it that this is an organization that they have developed talent that has helped them win championships. The Will Smiths, the Walker Buehlers, the list goes on and on. They had talent
Yeah.
elsewhere. They're always linked to guys in trades. And recently, Diego Cartaya, a former top prospect, he gets traded. He's your teammate. What was your reaction to that? I mean, did you have any thoughts on that? Just kind of like, is it kind of one of those, oh, baseball is a business type moments that it kind of really hits?
Yeah, I mean, that's to a T. Baseball is an actual business. You see it more and more the longer you play, I guess. And losing Diego, man, Diego is one of the best people. Don't even talk like baseball player. He is like what everyone knows he is. But as a person, he was a good guy to be surrounded by. Get to work with every day, most of the days of last year, and it's uh it's a new opportunity for him. That's the way you look at it in baseball, and I think it's a very exciting opportunity for him, and I hope nothing but the best for him.
Absolutely. I
And
mean, yeah.
everyone sees everyone in this game, so that won't be the last time seeing Diego.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things that I always kind of look at you guys like, man, you guys have got it good because you got the best coaching, the development. But then, man,
Yeah,
when you see some of these homegrown talents guys go to other teams, it's almost like, man, you know, you want to see the homegrown
absolutely.
guys come up and have success.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can only imagine from a fan base what that feels like, but I think it's the Dodgers fan base's job to understand the situation. And those are guys you root for, you know. Like a lot of those guys that go to other teams from the Dodgers have very, very long, successful careers. It's been shown.
Exactly, exactly. And I don't even want to mention them because it kind of hurts a little bit. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But you kind of root for those guys no matter what, 100%. And you look at, though, I kind of want to go back a little bit to the defense. And one thing I want to ask you is, I mean, you play left field, you play the corner outfield spot, you play catcher for so long. Is it get to a point where you're like, man, I kind of like it out here? I mean, it kind of takes a little less stress off. I mean, you're not engaged in every single pitch as far as being the catcher out there, and you kind of focus on
yeah.
hitting and defense. Or is it, I'm a catcher at heart? That's kind of where my passion is.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unique. I think it's pretty cool. I think going out there is more of an opportunity to think of the game as a catcher from somewhere else
Oh,
besides
that's
catching.
cool. Yeah.
So it's I kind of flipped the script a little bit on it. Obviously, you're not going to execute as much as you execute behind the plate out there from like predicting pitches, understanding what's going to be thrown. That's kind of the difference I tried to make in the outfield. It's like, all right, like as a catcher right now, what would I call? What am I calling right here? What are the outcomes of this to happen? What are the outcomes of this to happen? You know, and I think that was kind of one of my development pieces out there because it helped me with situations, helped me with like where to set up, whatever. But no, I would never say that I like it more out there ever than behind the plate. I think something I take a lot of pride in is the leadership side of things when I am back there over a period of time. Obviously, comfort and trust is one of the biggest things in this sport between a pitcher and a catcher. And so I understand those things. But yeah, I love competing behind the plate. It's something that I've loved for a really long time.
So it sounds like to me, it's, hey, I just want to come up, help this team any way I can. If you need me at left, fine. If you need me at
Yeah,
first,
absolutely.
fine. If you need me at catcher, fine. I just want to find a spot on this roster and compete at the highest level.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more this is something I've looked forward to since 4 or 5 years old, you know? So whatever opportunity gets in front of me, it's something I'm going to try and grab and run away with.
Yeah, and one thing I'll ask you too is you won the Branch Rickey Award and you had time at Dodgers Stadium. What do you remember from that experience, and just how cool is that to be able to experience that, be at Dodgers Stadium and win that prestigious award?
Yeah, it's cool. You get like the full experience. You talk to the guys, you hang around the guys, watch them take BP. You get the award in front of Dodger Stadium, packed Dodger Stadium at that. So yeah, it's a cool experience. It's basically you're like, all right, let's. My mindset was this award is great, and like you look at the past people that have won this award, it's just all star, big leaguer, just big name in baseball, one after another. So that right there, it says everything for itself. But I think like the biggest thing was, hey, you get to see it from hopefully one last perspective, not being as a player. You know, that's kind of how I looked at it, and it kind of lines up my whole path, like how everything's played out. So I think of it all as like a journey. So it's now there's one last piece put in the puzzle to finish the journey. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, there was some talk late last season, maybe you find a spot on that postseason roster. So clearly you're right there. But just being so close, it's got to feel like, man, like this is the year for Dalton Rushing. Now I want to ask you, do you have, 2025 will be a successful season for Dalton Rushing if, just kind of fill in that blank there.
Yes. I don't like to think of it like that. If I just, I'm gonna do my best as a player to find success no matter where I'm at. But as everyone knows, I love winning, and I think the winningest team that we're gonna have in this organization is probably the one that wins the most games every year in the big leagues. So I think the sooner I see those opportunities arise, I think the more success I find from this year.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great year. We're so excited. We're going to be there for your debut. We know it's coming in. Yeah, get ready, man. The bright lights, Dodger Stadium, Dodgers Nation is so excited for you to make that debut, Dalton. And we will catch up with you sometime during spring training. Thanks for all the time, man. And yeah, man, hope you enjoy the rest of your offseason because it's about to get crazy pretty soon, my man.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Mr. Dalton Rushing, the Dodgers' #1 prospect. This guy has got the brightest future. This is someone who there's no doubt about it that he's ready to go. He's got the tools. He has got the makings of someone that has the chance to be an impact bat at this level. Everyone you talk to says that this is someone that not just has the versatility now, can play left, can play behind the dish, can play first, but can not only hit for power, hit for average, can take his walks, but it's what he brings to this Dodgers culture, what he brings from a leadership and intangible standpoint. And that's why I think this team does not want to give up a Dalton Rushing. This team does not want to trade away someone that they think can be a productive, controllable player for a long period of time for them. So, yeah, we need some of these homegrown guys. We need some of these homegrown guys to continue to come up through the system. So, yeah, there you go, Dalton Rushing, man. He's the man. We'll catch up with him at some time during spring training. But he's ready to go. He's ready to go. You can just tell, you can hear it. And there's no doubt about it that this is the year. This is the year, and he's ready. He's ready. But let me know down below in the comment section, what is your reaction to Dalton Rushing, to the latest with Roki Sasaki, because that's where we're going to go next here on Dodgers Dugout Live. I have a super chat, Ricardo Moreno, $5 super chat. Roki definitely joining the Dodgers. Let's go LA. So let's go to the leadoff here. Let's talk some Roki Sasaki.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
So we got to start with the latest on Roki Sasaki. For Roki Sasaki, the latest this morning, it's a nice way to wake up on a Friday morning, right? To get your Friday coffee, you take a sip, and you find out that the Padres have been eliminated from the Roki Sasaki Sweepstakes. And pretty big surprise because it was supposed to be a Dodgers Padres battle for Roki Sasaki at the end, and it's a Dodgers Blue Jays. At least those are the top two teams that are involved. It was down to 3 teams. Now it's down to 2 teams. And the latest with Roki right now is, are the Blue Jays a team that is a serious contender? Well, the Blue Jays on Friday, they acquired more bonus pool money. They made a trade with the Guardians. The Blue Jays, they took on outfielder Miles Straw and his contract for $14.75 million. He also has 2 club options for the 2027 and 2028 season and international bonus pool space for a player to be named later and some cash. And Ben Nicholson Smith, he reported that the Dodgers got $2 million in bonus pool space in the deal. So that puts the Blue Jays at $6.26 million. The Dodgers right now are at $5.1 million. There has been some talk that the Dodgers were looking to add to make some trades to increase that amount, but the Blue Jays are the first team to be able to execute that. Now, the Padres thing, if you guys want a couple minutes to talk about that, we'll kind of circle back, and that was reported by Francis Romero. I talked to him early this morning, and it was pretty clear the Padres were not going to be a serious contender because they decided to make some signings. They ended up signing Carlos Alvarez, who's the 70th best prospect in the international class. That was by Baseball America. And the signing was around $1 million. So basically how it works is if the Padres are signing anyone, that means the money is going towards that international prospect and not going to Roki Sasaki. It's all you needed to see. So this is a bit of a surprise. And like I said a couple days ago, do not worry about Roki Sasaki wearing Padres gear. It will go down to the fact that he was at a meeting. Here we got a nice little tweet here. Some AI. It says, breaking, Roki Sasaki seen at Petco Park returning all the gear the Padres gave him. Yeah, he's returning all of it, man. He's probably not going to use it. Probably going to take it to a Goodwill or something. But this will go down just like we look at Kobe Bryant's picture of him wearing Boston Celtics warm-up gear. It will mean nothing. He was there for a visit. He was there for a workout. And look, he was just not going to go to the Padres because of the state of that franchise. You have a tumultuous situation with the ownership group. You have the Seidler family battling over the ownership of the team. Peter Seidler's widow in litigation with the sons of the team. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. You got some bad contracts, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. You also have to play the Dodgers. Like I said, you either win with the Dodgers or you watch the Dodgers win. It's that simple. Do you want to face Shohei Ohtani all year? Do you want to go against this lineup? Do you want to be finishing at best second for the 6 years you're down in San Diego because of how stacked this roster is with the Dodgers, right? I just never felt he was going to go to San Diego just because they're not as buttoned up. Yu Darvish, great mentor, great role model, definitely looks up to him. He's 38. At best, what? He's going to spend 2 of his 6 years with him? Maybe less than that. Who knows, right? And then, look, it's just not the organization that I think you could honestly say would give him the best chance of having the most success. And for me, the big question mark would be, he thinks he has the potential to be the best pitcher in the world. If you think that and you realize that, you're going to get paid $200 to $300 million. That's how much you're worth, even in an extension. And with an extension like that, can they afford to pay you and put talent around you when you already have aging contracts in Xander, in Manny Machado? Tatis still is a decent contract, but still, he was never going to go to the Padres, in my opinion. I just never felt like with the state of the organization, it's like he's got a 4.3 GPA. He's going to go to Harvard, not San Diego State, right? I mean, no slide on San Diego State, but like this is someone who is ready to put himself in the best organization to utilize his talents. Now, what I've heard as far as Shohei Ohtani is that he was not at the meeting with Roki Sasaki, but that Roki had has done his homework on the Dodgers, is what I was told. He's done his homework on the Dodgers, and you have to believe that him and his agent, him and everyone that's involved in this decision knows exactly what the Dodgers bring. That is a perennial contender. That someone's going to compete for World Series championships. That is going to make sure that he's in the best position to have success. Also, I've also was told that the 6-man rotation was a part of the conversations as well. The meeting did not take place at Dodger Stadium, is what I was told. But the good news is that the team that was supposed to be the biggest contender is not. So it's either he's going to Toronto or he's going to LA. I will say that the worst case scenario now is better than we thought it would have been, right? The worst case scenario would have been that he went to the San Diego Padres, a team that was up 2-1 against the Dodgers in the NLDS, that you'll have to face 13 times and you could face in the postseason. That would have been the worst case scenario. Now, the worst case scenario is he signs with a team in the American League that right now doesn't look like a bona fide contender that you will only face in the postseason if it's the World Series. And a lot would have to happen for the Toronto Blue Jays to get to the World Series. So there's that point. And yeah, like I said, the Padres, another big takeaway is the Padres are worse than they could have been. And you have them in rumors to trade Dylan Cease and things like that. And just kind of the state of their team makes you wonder, who is the second best team in the National League West? Is it the Padres? Is it the Diamondbacks? So the good news is that most people really are confident that the Dodgers will land Roki Sasaki. Most people that I've talked to are very confident that the Dodgers will land Roki Sasaki, and that in the event that he pulls a Shohei Ohtani to the Angels level shocker, is it really going to be that massive of a blow? Look, I mean, this is more of, okay, the billionaire, the rich get the richest, right? With the Dodgers, right? You're adding a talent, like I've said before, I say it again. This is like getting a Lamborghini for the price of a Nissan Altima or Nissan Verse, whatever you want. But also, you're keeping talent away from potential contenders, and you're also just building the team of Japan, right? You're building that international culture that you already have to acquire talent down the line. So I still feel confident that he ends up with the Dodgers, but it is interesting that the Blue Jays would be willing to do this. It is interesting. At this point, you have to give the Blue Jays credit, man. These guys are like, I call them the Toronto bridesmaids. I'm going to have to eat my words if they get Roki Sasaki, right? I mean, they've been in the mix with all these big free agents, with another Japanese superstar. If you're a Blue Jays fan, I mean, are you getting your heart broken once again? It's tough, but they got to give them credit, because most of the time you'd probably think to yourself, hey, you're only going to take on that money. You're only going to get that money if you think that they're going to be able to acquire their guy. But at the same token, it is Roki Sasaki. So even if you have a 50% shot, it's still probably worth doing this if you're the Toronto Blue Jays. He had a second meeting with them. Clearly, the Blue Jays as an organization, they have that really nice training facility, spring training facility in Florida. They got tons of money. Rogers Center, they're owned by Rogers Communication. They're worth like $24 billion. So the Blue Jays have the makings for a strong, stable, winning franchise. But I'm always reluctant to see it to believe it until I see it. And that's kind of where I'm at. Now, if you're the Dodgers, I mean, you're just standing pat. You're just waiting, and hopefully you get the good news that Roki is a Dodger. Got some super chats. Francisco Diaz, $9.99. D-Mac, as a Dodgers fan living in San Diego, all I've heard all day is Padres fans crying, saying no credible sources has verified they're out on Roki, yet no credible source has came out and said they're still in. Well, a good friend, John Morosi, he was on MLB Network, and he talked about the Padres being eliminated from the Roki sweepstakes. And the truth of the matter is you don't need someone to necessarily report it, because if you just read the tea leaves and look at what has happened, they're spending that international bonus pool money that they were saving in the hope that they would sign Roki Sasaki. But here was John Morosi on the latest with Roki Sasaki.
Still very fluid at this hour, but an important report in the last several minutes from Francis Romero about the state of the international signing period. Here it is. From multiple sources, Francis reporting that the Padres are out on Sasaki, and that the telltale sign of this is that they're prepared to now begin their international signings of other parts of their international budget. Of course, we all know there's a hard cap on this. So they're prepared to now sign Yohan De La Cruz and Carlos Alvarez. And Francis reported that the Alvarez bonus will be $1 million. And so, again, the Padres have not released a formal statement at this hour saying that they are out. But the reporting of Francis Romero indicating that other moves they are making would preclude them from signing Sasaki under the same international signing bonus cap. Therefore, assuming this is, again, the way this actually unfolds, that it would leave the Dodgers and the Blue Jays as the two remaining suitors for Roki Sasaki. And I was also told within the last couple days, of course, we know this, Matt, the Dodgers had the final at-bat, so to speak. They had the final in-person meeting with Sasaki, and I was told that Sasaki has been very impressed and connected to Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who, of course, had such a great rookie season with the Dodgers in 2024. So, again, information is still fluid at this hour, but the report of Francis Romero indicating the Padres are pivoting away from Sasaki, leaving two remaining teams, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays.
So there you go. You got John Morosi with the latest on Roki Sasaki. And what did I say on the show a couple days ago? That the meeting, when it went down, that Yoshinobu Yamamoto was crucial, was absolutely crucial. That's what we said on the show a couple days ago as well. I was hearing, and that's what John Morosi is saying as well. And I think that it's logical, right? It's logical that Yamamoto, he is the pitching only Japanese player that you would think would be around him more just because Ohtani's doing so many things, right? He's playing as a hitter and he's pitching as well. So I think that it only makes sense. We got to Lucas Higgins. I know Roki was never going to San Diego. It made no sense. Darvish has 2 years max left. Padres ownership is in shambles. I want Sasaki, but if you went to Toronto, I would kind of laugh. Yeah, I think at this point, it would sting, and trust me, I would not be happy for sure. But it would be a lot less of a blow than it would be if he was going to the San Diego Padres, because they're the San Diego Padres today, not getting Roki Sasaki. I mean, imagine if it was the other way around and we had seen Roki Sasaki doing a pitching warm-up and getting some work in at Dodger Stadium wearing full Dodgers gear. We would probably be saying, oh, wait a second, that would really hurt because you're like so close. It's like you can taste it. But the funny thing about this is people have been saying that Roki Sasaki was wearing Padres gear years ago and making a lot about it. So I hope we've learned our lesson that this is laundry at this point, that it really has no indication. Like I said, when you're a college football 5-star recruit and you go take your visits, they give you a lot of swag. You get the gear. You take pictures wearing the USC jersey or the Ohio State jersey, the Notre Dame jersey. You post on your social media, and then they hope that you go to class the next day and you're wearing all the USC gear, and that influences your decision. This is nothing new. It's different, but still, for sure, it is no surprise to me that meant nothing. We got to Durabo. Well, actually, let's switch. Go to 7th inning stretch, guys. Let's hear all your thoughts, comments, questions, all things Dodger baseball. Let me know right now on the 7th inning stretch.
The 7th inning stretch.
We got Durabo. If Sasaki is all about losing, he'll go to Toronto. Good luck. Bruh. Daniel Martinez, Roki is more than likely a Dodger, but either way, I will not relax until I see breaking news. Dodgers and Roki Sasaki have come to terms. Yeah, I think that's fair. Give that a home run because, look, that's the level-headed way to do it. But like I said, if we are in the episode of The Bachelor and you have Andrew Friedman there and he's waiting for that rose for Sasaki, I think you feel a little more confident knowing that it's not the Padres. Having said that, the big wrench and all, like, let's say the Padres route and the Blue Jays didn't make a move to get more international bonus pool money, I think you'd feel a little better right now. But we know what I always say. Andrew Friedman only speaks when it's time to say checkmate. And typically that has been the case with these big signings. Last season, we know the drama. Ohtani on a plane to Toronto. It was Rob Herjavec's plane, one of the hosts of Shark Tank, right? One of the judges on Shark Tank, right? And that turned out not to be true. Dave Roberts, I believe, was on a golf course at the time, and they were all pretty shocked. The Dodgers brass, they were surprised by it. Then it went silent, and the very next day on Instagram, Shohei Ohtani, he announced the news himself. So be patient. Let's not forget, he has until next Thursday, the 23rd, to announce and make his decision. Well, we do know now, and I've heard this from a source, that the meeting that the Dodgers had with Roki Sasaki went, quote, great. So if the meeting went great, you've done everything you can do. You've done everything you can do to close the deal. And the truth is, if the Dodgers get Sasaki, it won't be because of some meeting, right? It will be a factor, but they will have gotten Sasaki because of what they've done for the last 10 plus years. And that has put together the most stable organization in baseball that is committed to winning. I heard that the ownership has used the D word, and that is dynasty. They want a dynasty. That is the goal. That is the goal of this organization. And you do that by acquiring talent in a variety of different ways and give all the credit to that all the meltdown is going to be all-time great. It's going to be Dodgers are ruining baseball. Dodgers are ruining baseball. But the truth is, the Dodgers are setting a standard in baseball that a lot of teams can't keep up with. The rising tide is supposed to lift all boats, but that hasn't necessarily been the case. Teams aren't spending, teams aren't developing, teams don't have the culture, teams don't have the leadership, teams don't have Andrew Friedman and everything this organization has built and ownership that's as committed to winning and spending. Look, if it was all about spending, the Mets would already have a couple titles by now. It isn't all about that. If Roki signs with his team, it's because he knows that this is the best organization to help him be the best player he can be, not the richest player he can be right now. The money will come. The money will come. We got super chat from Ricardo Moreno. D-Mac, have you had a torta today?
Bruh.
You know what? That sounds delicious. I think after the show, I'm going to go to my torta spot. Big, juicy, delicious torta for this. I'm starving, man. I haven't had a torta a couple days, so that's a good. I'm going to go to this place down Highland Park down the street to give me a nice torta after this one. I'm starving. Tony Diaz, D-Mac, is Dodger Stadium going to be ready for baseball in a couple months? You have to assume it is. I don't have any definitive date on that. I'll try to get some information, but I mean, think about it. It's not just a regular season. They're preparing for a ring ceremony. So you have to believe that when the season starts, Dodger Stadium is going to be ready. Ask Madden Turducken. Shout out to John Madden. D-Mac, assuming Roki ends up with the Dodgers or not, what's the next move after making possible moves to other targets on their list? Do the Dodgers now resume the group of international signee? It really all depends, to be honest, on where they're at after that. But they've already communicated that some of their prospects they were pursuing to push back to the next window. So really, that's not the concern. The priority is Roki Sasaki. And if that's the only guy you get, that's potentially equivalent to years and years of international bonus pool signings, depending on how he works out. But as far as other next moves, we kind of talked about it yesterday. I mean, my prediction is you sign Roki, sign Kirsch, sign Kike, and then you hopefully sign Tanner Scott. Or at the very least, you get another high leverage reliever because that's what they're goal is this offseason. Steven Gonzalez, $5 super chat. I love the Mets spending, especially on Soto. Now they will lose NLCS games 10-5 instead of 10-2. Can give you a nice little finish him. David E. Dan Kotix, a $4.99 super chat. Breaking. Padres will be selling Tatis's ringworm cream to acquire more international bonus pool money. So that's from Danatix. Hey, I like that. I mean, that could get you a lot because we know he had a lot of that ringworm cream. Fernando Tatis. You know, you can't spell Padres out PED. But David E., I need a Dodgers for life clip from Kirsch. Oh, you mean this Dodgers for life clip? We'll get it. Where's my Dodgers for life? Where's my Dodgers for life? Let's run that back. Watch that all day. Dodger for life. We got Brianna question. Is there any update on Tanner Scott? I mean, right now it's been quiet on the Tanner Scott front. I think from his camp, it's probably fielding the real offers that are in front of them, because there was a report a couple weeks ago that he was looking for 4 years, $80 million, when that's a lot higher than any of the projections had. I mean, I remember seeing some projections. I had him at 4 years, $68 million, something like that at the very beginning. Even MLB Trade Rumors had him at, I think, 4 years, $56 million. So that'd be a lot higher than his projections. I mean, he truly has been one of the best and most dominant relievers in the sport. He is a fantastic left-handed reliever. And someone just mentioned the Mets. I would love to have Tanner Scott to go up against Juan Soto. If you face the Mets in the NLCS, I would love to have Tanner Scott in a Dodger uniform, because that means he can't face Shohei Ohtani, he's had a lot of success against. Dylan Mejia, Dalton is well-spoken. Looking forward to seeing him get some playing time this season. Yeah, absolutely. Doug Slayton, D-Mac, my new full-time job is refreshing X every 5 minutes. Come on, Roki. Yeah, you're going to have to replace those F5 buttons. Your screen time is probably off the charts, but it's exciting. Come on. You know you love it. You know you love it. Six Pac. I like that. Toronto ready and set up to get heartbroken again. I know, man. Well, look, the Blue Jays have had a rough go of it. But you know what, though? It says a lot about that organization, because they clearly are doing a lot of things right, because it cannot be easy to get players from the Dominican Republic, from United States, from Japan to commit to playing in Toronto. I mean, it's cold. It's far from where you're from. It's a organization that roster-wise isn't at the level where the Dodgers are at or teams like that. So clearly they're doing something right. But man, I mean, they get in the red zone, but they don't punch it in the end zone, right? They're kicking field goals in the red zone, and they're missing wide right. They just not finishing the job. But I mean, at some point, you have to believe that he will. Now, by the way, do you see Jack Flaherty tweeted something today? I don't know if you guys saw this. Jack Flaherty tweeted a gif of Michael Jordan from The Last Dance looking down. So that's pretty interesting in and of itself. But a couple more. We got Vero. As fans, we've had a year of heartbreak when the Dodgers have lost in past years. In the playoffs, it's our time. Then we got Matt Leiter. If Dalton Rushing only had one fan, it would be me. Just a beast. Yeah, I love that right there. Give you a little home run. Whatever says, got to work this kid into the team, get him where he needs to go, and when Will rest, and he will know the pitchers. Yeah, totally. We'll end on this one. John says, LFG Dodgers about to get all the Infinity Stones. Yeah, they got a big Infinity Stone that hopefully they get, but that is the latest on Roki Sasaki. Padres are out. Blue Jays getting more money. The Dodgers are confident that he'll be wearing Dodger blue. Special thanks to Dodgers top prospect Dalton Rushing for joining the show. Great prospect that is only going to be a prospect for a short amount of time. He's coming. Dalton Rushing is ready to make his debut in 2025, and I expect big things from Dalton Rushing. But that's going to do it, guys. A super chat here on the end. Turbo Scratch Gaming, $5. Is pitching development a big factor in the Sasaki decision? Who has the better pitching development program, LA or Toronto? I mean, it's clearly miles ahead is the Dodgers. I mean, you've seen what they've done. And I think, too, it's pitching development, but also the variety of pitchers they have developed, right? I mean, they have success with high velocity guys. They have success with, different types, like the Tony Gonsolin types that throw a split change, or a Landon Knack that can come up and be a serviceable big league starter. So, yeah, when it comes to overall investment, it's tough to find anyone out there that does a better job than Mark Pryor and Connor McGinnis and Bard and the analytics department. Yeah, they realize that part of the success of pitchers is everything you do behind the scenes. But look, Toronto, every big league team is going to have just levels of really good when it comes to pitching development. But look, there's a reason why guys sign here on one-year deals. There's a reason why they do that, because they know that you can unlock some things. Now, sometimes you're going to get a Noah Syndergaard situation, but sometimes you get a Tyler Anderson situation, right? Sometimes you're going to look what they did with Michael Kopech. Michael Kopech was dead in the water with his career in Chicago, and felt like overnight he becomes one of the best elite high leverage relievers in the sport. So the track record is there, and there's no doubt about it. The Dodgers, and there's no doubt about it, pitching development is a major reason why he would come here, because he wants to be the best, and they think that they can make him even better. But that's going to do it, guys. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button. Hit the like button if you want to see Roki Sasaki be a Dodger. I need to do shoeies this weekend. I need to celebrate Roki Sasaki this weekend. I can't wait any longer. My F5 key is getting worn out, okay? So hit that like button. Drop some comments down below. Subscribe to the channel. Have a great weekend, and most importantly, remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.